Keep in mind, I want to tell you this. What might be valid is the fact that this info is, well, the thing about it is that the situation that happened, specifically me and Mix arguing with each other, it didn't just happen like a month ago, but 1 week ago. People can't change, yes, but like I said, it might be valid. And if they claim they stop after realizing how horrible it was, that might be valid too. And finally, if they at least admit one mistake, that also might be valid. People don't change after a while, but keep in mind that before we start with the video, I want to bring up a few warnings. 1. Do not harass, threaten, dox, mass report, or contact anybody shown in this video. I do not support any of these actions. 2. This video is for discussion accountability only, not targeted hate, and I'll be saying this a ton of times to make myself extremely clear. Too long didn't hear, this is literally just accountability, and I'll be repetitive during this video. 3. Do not send hate towards any individual or community. Everybody in here is at least a teenager, and teenagers are kind of stupid. 4. Some topics involve inappropriate online behavior in minors. Be aware. 5. Please watch the video critically and review evidence for yourselves. 6. If anyone is involved that wants to clarify or correct factual information, yours truly, please. So, what is the situation here? I'll sum it up very well for you. The situation started as an argument about accountability, especially and specifically involving minors and NSFW/suggestive content. My main position throughout the argument was minors should not be involved with NSFW or suggestive content. I don't support flowie suggestive behavior, and accountability should apply consistently to everyone involved. So why am I exactly making a video out of this? There's a huge reason why. Mix and Darius dismissed and mocked my accountability concerns, and they accused me of defending behavior I already criticized before, and they treated a serious discussion like a social competition or joke, and I'll show it later. I'm not going to explain the screenshots because the video will be excessively long, but I'll show them as examples. But you should instead take a look at it yourself by checking this attachment in the description down below to view the entire argument. So I'll explain Darius first. This is Darius. Whoa. The profile doesn't exactly look so bad. Oh, never mind. She's showing more not safe for work content. And now, instead of her posting NSFW, it's on her profile. And if you don't believe me that's not safe for work, my friend reverse searched the image and got the exact match for that. Don't worry, he's an adult, and I'm not. I don't want to reverse search this garbage either way, really. I mean, seriously, how can you not find out that this is horrible to begin with? Who puts porn on their profile when under 18? How can you take someone like that seriously? I'll explain why it's wrong, though. 1. It normalizes minors being connected to NSFW content. Even if Darius thinks it's just a profile picture, it still presents them publicly with sexualized imagery. It's not safe or inappropriate for somebody under 18. 2. It makes their argument look hypocritical. If Darius is criticizing someone else for underage NSFW related behavior, like for example flowie, but they also use an NSFW looking profile picture while underage and posting NSFW content in a server that's meant for adults, I can legit reasonably say, you are calling out this behavior while participating in a version of it yourself. That doesn't mean that Darius is worse than everybody else, but it does weaken their position. 3. It shifts attention away from accountability. Instead of being able to say, yes, minors should not be involved with NSFW content, Darius' own profile just gives people a reason to question whether they actually have to take that seriously. 4. It can make people uncomfortable. People in a server should not have to interact with sexualized profile images from minors. Even if it just is art, it can still make the environment feel unsafe or inappropriate. Even though Flowie probably did that herself as well, who knows? They could possibly make an assumption out of that. Either way, that doesn't mean I support that kind of stuff. I will not show the uncensored image or link the source because minors are involved in, obviously. But this matters because Darius was arguing about underage NSFW behavior while also using NSFW imagery themselves. I'm going to put my defenses here. Almost every single defense here because I know they're going to bring this up. So this is just split sections and chapters. Now before you say, it's the past, specifically the NSFW drawings and NSFW profile, here's my response. People can't change. I've said this numerous times, and I'm not saying that someone should be permanently attacked for something they removed or regret. But saying it was the past only works if there's actual accountability. And I have to be super brutally honest and sharp. I don't see any accountability whatsoever. Instead, all I see is literal bullshit. That means acknowledging it was inappropriate, explaining that it was removed, and not using the same issue to attack other people while refusing to address your own contradiction, however. The problem is that it just didn't happen before. The problem is literally just dismissing the concern, mocking the situation, or accusing me of defending underage NSFW content when I've already criticized that behavior multiple times. I've literally made 4 exposing videos on Flowie. There's your sentence you want to hear, Mix or Darius. If the defense is the cropped profile picture itself wasn't explicit, I kind of understand that there's a difference between a cropped image and a full source, but the issue is that the image still came from nsfw material and was used by a minor in a public profile. That makes it relevant when the whole argument is about minors and nsfw related behavior. I mean, if you put onto a profile picture, I'm sure you can see the rest of the image when it comes to the preview, but who knows, maybe she downloaded the image cropped to begin with. But like I said, it still came from nsfw material. If the defense is I shouldn't have bursted anger like that publicly, honestly, it is fair, but the thing is that I was upset, and I promise I won't do that again. I have emotions, and I'm not perfect. That's an average human being. If the defense was I didn't know the source was nsfw, then honestly that's a better explanation, but it should still come with accountability. Something like, I didn't realize where it came from, I removed it, and I understand why it looked hypocritical. That would be pretty reasonable. If the defense is you're only bringing this up to attack deyris, honestly I'm bringing this up because it directly relates to the topic being discussed. The whole argument was about minors and nsfw related behavior. If someone is involved in that argument, also use nsfw source imagery while underage, then it is relevant to the conversation. If you don't think that, honestly, I'm really worried for you. Like, seriously. If the defense is you're obsessed with drama, or you're obsessed with anything really, calling me obsessed does not answer the point. I kept repeating myself because I was repeatedly accused of defending behavior I already criticized. For my opinion, you want the conversation to end. Then address the actual issue clearly, acknowledge what happened, stop mispresenting my position, and stop dismissing concerns about minors and nsfw content. Even this video. Yes, you, Mix and deyris. The defense was you just want drama, and you're making them. This became public drama because my concern was dismissed instead of it being handled very seriously. I would rather this be solved maturely than argued about publicly, and you didn't even want to take accountability. But calling it drama does not erase the issue. The issue is whether when people are applying accountability consistently, and whether minors are being kept away from nsfw related content. If the defense is, Flowie did worse, so why focus on her and Mixed? I already criticized Flowie multiple times. That's exactly why the accusation that I support her actions does not make any sense. If the defense is, you never brought up this info until now, specifically the nsfw profile, or me talking about how I exposed Flowie numerous times, or posting nsfw in the server. I did not bring up the nsfw profile picture or the Flowie situation earlier because the main argument at the time was focused on you, Mix, misrepresenting my position and accusing me of defending Flowie. But even after looking deeper into the situation, the profile picture became relevant because it connects directly to the same issue, minors being involved with nsfw related content. The timing does not erase the contradiction. If the profile picture came from nsfw material and deyris was under 18 while using it, it's still inappropriate whatsoever. The question is, was it inappropriate, and are willing to acknowledge that? Me bringing it up immediately does not make the point invalid. It just means it was found or verified later. Well, honestly, when I first looked at this image, it was already horrible enough. Bringing up deyris does not erase what Flowie did. It shows that the standard should apply to everyone, not to the only person people should dislike. If the defense was, we never defended nsfw, then the response should have been very simple from the very start. Yeah, minors should not post, draw, or normalize nsfw content, and we should agree it should stop. But that's literally not what happened. Instead, the conversation just turned into mostly deflection, sarcasm, accusing me of something that I literally never wanted to associate with to begin with. Honestly, I'm not asking anyone to harass, threaten, or attack you, Mix. I already stated this in the beginning of our videos. It's not an excuse, and I promise you that. It's really immature, and I'm only criticizing behavior and why I think the response was irresponsible. If someone's reputation is affected, like for example deyris and Mix, it's because of your own actions to how you handled accountability, not because people, or us, were told to harass them. This is not about attacking deyris as a person. It is about pointing out a contradiction in the way accountability is being applied. But what is not reasonable is mocking the situation, dismissing the concern, saying move on, or accusing me of defending underage nsfw content when I already criticized Flowie multiple times for the same general issue. I'm not bringing this up to say that deyris is immediately a bad person or permanently a bad person. I'm bringing it up because you can't demand accountability from one person while refusing to acknowledge your own contradictions. If the defense is, you also posted memes, you're informal as well. That may be true, but it doesn't answer my question why you were being accountable for your actions. And finally, if you think I'm dragging this argument, listen to this with a pinch of salt. If people think this should have stayed private, that's very understandable. But the reason why I continue talking about it is because of the concerns you were being publicly dismissed while I was being publicly accused of defending behavior I already criticized multiple times. I respond publicly because the accusation and contradictions were public. Too long to hear, you're very biased. If you still somehow defending yourself by saying that I still defend Flowie or defend yourself with any of these I mentioned, I'll be very forward with you. It's the kind of contradiction I usually point out. You accuse me of defending Flowie, even though I repeatedly say that I don't support what I did. This is the contradiction I usually point out. You accuse me of defending Flowie, even though I repeatedly say that I don't support her actions or what she did, as I made multiple videos criticizing Flowie's behavior. But when Darius has an NSFW source profile picture while underage, suddenly the defense is very different. It's literally just, it's in the past or move on. That is the double standard. When it's someone you disagree with, it's accountability. But when it's someone on your side, it becomes a massive amount of excuses. And if I'm reaching, I don't think it's reaching to say minors should be connected to NSFW content, whether that means drawing it, posting it, using it as a profile picture, or normalizing it in a server. The severity can be different, but the basic standard stays the same. Like, I really hope you understand that. And also about the age gaps, I want to apologize for that. I want to correct something before I start continuing my defense. Earlier, I believed that there was a larger age gap between Mix and Darius because Darius' straw page appears to show outdated age information. Because of that, I thought Mix was around 14 to 15 years old. Meanwhile, Mix was 17. So I've been told that Darius is actually 16, as it shows in the screenshots. If so, then he retracted the point about the age gap being 2 to 3 years or unusually large. That part was based on outdated information, and I don't want to keep presenting it as a fact. But if Mix and Darius say, "You lied about our ages," honestly, this is what I can say. I did not intentionally lie. I used the information that was publicly available at the time, but I understand that now. The page was outdated. I'm just correcting it instead of directly continuing to push a wrong claim. Listen to this carefully. One corrected mistake does not automatically make any other point false. It just means that every specific age gap claim should not be removed or corrected. The rest of the video should be judged by the evidence shown for each separate point, okay? This doesn't erase my other concerns about the NSFW profile picture, dismissive responses, and accountability. But I do want to be fair and correct the information I got wrong. Okay, well, now we got the Darius situation out of there. I want to show why Mix isn't exactly, well, a good person or really approval of what he's doing. I mean, like I said, he can change. So here's my opinion about you, Mix. But I'm going to repeat this twice so you can at least take a look at yourself properly. These other screenshots I'm about to show you, Mix, make yourself look worse in terms of maturity and accountability, because now the conversation started looking less like I'm defending myself seriously and more like I'm trying to win the argument socially. Mix usually turns the argument into a victory. Mix and his friends usually say things like, "We won, gang, easy berg, rage bait, somebody's scared, 3v1 at this point." That makes it seem like Mix viewed the situation as entertainment or a competition instead of a serious discussion about minors and NSFW related behavior. That weakens his credibility because if somebody genuinely believed the accusations were false or harmful, most people would expect clarification or evidence or corrections or calm explanations. It's just admitting parts were rage bait as well. The "that was rage bait" image is actually important because it can make you look manipulative. There's actually a whole history behind Mix being manipulative, but that was dating back to 2023. There's an entire document about it that I'll put in the link in the description. But don't bother making this look like you are a bad person, Mix. This is literally old content, just here to show, really. Honestly, considering you still did it back in the day, I don't think this will make you look like you even changed to start with. That supports my claim that the conversation was not even being taken seriously. But how is this viewed manipulative? Rage bait literally works by frustrating people or making them look unreasonable. So if I became repetitive or frustrated while Mix was intentionally provoking reactions, I would have just argued that Mix was intentionally escalating the situation instead of trying to solve it. That's why people would call him manipulative rather than just joking. At the same time, to be fair, some people generally use humor to cope with arguments. I myself do it as well. But not every sarcastic message is manipulation or malicious. But publicly saying that that was rage bait after a heated argument usually makes myself and other people think that he was intentionally provoking people. Basically, he said that someone decided to stop typing or scared to admit it, but people stopped replying online for many reasons. Honestly, if I had to be honest, I was in school and I was too exhausted to respond back. I claimed that it was just recycling the same old garbage over and over, and I still responded back to make my final claim. The other screenshots also help why I kept repeating myself. When Mix and his friends respond with memes and all this stuff, instead of seriously addressing the concern, it makes my frustration kind of look understandable. However, I gotta be more careful from what I gotta say, if I gotta be honest. I started getting more emotional here. Like, those statements are literally just emotionally charged. I also did the mocking silence as fear, so I gotta be careful. Mix appears to use a relationship double standard. Because Mix is dating Darius, his defense of Darius matters. If Mix says that I am biased because I'm friends with Flowie, but Mix also has to accept the fact that he also may be biased because he's dating Darius. That does not automatically make Mix wrong, but it cannot mean that I cannot act like Vibris. That does not mean that he's wrong, but it just means that he cannot act like my friendship is suspicious Meanwhile, his own relationship is irrelevant. Mix minimized or avoided Darius's NSFW profile picture issue. If Darius had an NSFW source profile while under 18, then that is relevant to the same topic, mine just being connected to NSFW material. Mix doesn't have to treat it as identical to Flowey's actions, but he should at least acknowledge it. Instead, from what I showed, Mix seems to respond more with jokes, sarcasm, and dismissal. It just makes him look like he only wants accountability when it targets the other side. Mix used move on selectively. Move on can be valid when drama becomes excessive, but it becomes weak if the person saying it actually never acknowledges the issue. Mix accuses me of defending someone while doing something similar. That's probably the biggest point in this video here. My connection to Flowey is a friendship. Mix's connection to Darius is a relationship. If I defended somebody like Flowey because I'm friends with her, but Mix defending Darius looks even more biased because he has a closer personal connection. Mix accused me of defending Flowey because I'm friends with her, even though I already criticized Flowey multiple times. But Mix is defending Darius while being in a relationship with them. That's the double standard. It's really obvious, really. My friendship was treated as proof of bias. That's the strongest version because it states fair. But it doesn't say that Mix is permanently bad. I'm just trying to say that Mix's behavior was inconsistent, biased, dismissive, and unserious during a serious topic, really. So here's my conclusion, and I want you people to listen to this very, very seriously. My strongest and most defensible point is consistency and accountability. I'm not the strongest when exaggerating or insulting or turning this into an escalation, but I honestly wouldn't blame him. That's very frustrating. But Mix and Darius is just usually in the wrong. Not trying to be biased here, but because they dismissed serious concerns, mispresented my position, and they usually treated the argument like a competition or joke. And I'm gonna show you this video. Mix literally says that he usually says easy as a joke.
Like, okay, I know you're gonna say that I say easy and all that, but I don't take that shit to the max level. Like, I don't take that, like, you know, to the pit of hell.
So honestly, because he said that, when I said that they should apologize, he says no. So I honestly had no other choice to do so. At the same time, I should acknowledge the things I got wrong. The things that I got wrong was usually the age gap, and usually me also provoking people's fear. I'm gonna be honest, that was pretty fucked up. Okay, I'm going to end the video like really quickly here. I didn't expect the video to get that long. Honestly, when recording the message, time went so damn fast. If I'm going to be brutally honest, really, I do not defend any Flowey's suggestive content behavior. In fact, I have a girlfriend, for crying out loud. Why would I like lust and shit like that? In fact, I've already made multiple videos criticizing Flowey literally about the suggestive content. Literally all of them just correlate about suggestive content. And you'd think that I defend her with the suggestive content stuff, really? But look at you, Mix. You're basically defending and enabling somebody and your relationship. That is called double standard right there. Well, honestly, if you do understand that, please make a video apologizing. And if you also criticize my wrongdoing behavior, meanwhile you also do as well, I want to reconcile. Okay? I want you to change respectfully. I've seen most of my friends talking about you, and honestly, when I saw this, where Darius had an NSFW profile and posted an NSFW in a server full of adults, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And that's it with today's video. I'll get back with Megan requests, don't worry y'all.